Okay, now prior to the last WordPress update, these shortcodes worked perfectly. And I didn't realize until I just tested this just now, they don't now. So we're going to have to try something different. But just to show you what I'm talking about, the idea is that this content is visible only if a user is logged in, and then this content is visible only if a user is not logged in. And these shortcodes were very reliable. But if you look at the output, all of this is just being output in plain text for an administrator logged in as well as someone who isn't logged in. So that's not working very well. So I've done a bit of research into this, and it actually is quite a serious problem, not just with this plugin, but with a lot of plugins that use these shortcodes. Okay, so what we're going to do is revert to instead of using these shortcodes, we're going to use the equivalent PHP code. Now that might be a stretch for some of you, but that's okay. It's still quite usable. And for this to work, we need to add another plugin to make PHP work within a post. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so recapping, the idea originally was to use simple shortcodes, which are documented here in S2 Member. So the problem is that WordPress no longer allows these to work, which is a bit disappointing, but that's okay. So we'll now use PHP. Okay, PHP, what is PHP? Well, PHP is the programming language that underpins the web, or one of the programming languages. Shortcodes were really just a simple way to access the underlying functions. So what we're going to do is just do the same kind of thing, but with at a lower level, if you like. It's the same idea. Content for someone who's logged in, content for someone who's not logged in. As you can see, a similar idea here, but just the notation's a little bit different. So I'm just going to copy this, and then I'll show you how we use that on our web page. But before we can, we need to install a plugin that will allow you to do that, because normally you can't put this programming code on a web page. Okay, and so the plugin that you need, now I've just installed this, so let's have a look at what it is. There's a number of varieties, but the one that I'm using is Easy PHP, and this one is written by the same people that did S2 Member, but you wouldn't need to necessarily use this one. This one is just a one that works really well. It evaluates PHP tags in posts and pages. Okay, so that's what we're going to use, and that allows us to put PHP code in web pages. Okay, so let's have a look at how we do that. Okay, so now here is our original shortcode notation here, which we described before. This is the link to explain what's gone wrong with shortcodes on the internet. Now if you look at this line, for example, you can see you've got an opening tag there, S2 member if, and then this command, this command inside here is actually a function from WordPress, a low-level function in WordPress. And you can see that that actually exists here as well. So that's the same thing, and here is the if bit, which was there. Now, so the idea is this is a bit of PHP. This is a PHP function from within WordPress. So what we need to do is put it within. Normally, it's within the PHP language tag here. So this is the beginning of it. This is the end of it, and then there's this if structure here with these curly brackets. But other than that, it kind of looks very similar to what was up there. Okay, so this came from the API example here. We need to change it a little bit to make it work with this plugin, this PHP Easy PHP plugin. So what we need to do is just change the opening tags here and the closing tags to these. So that's in square brackets again. Yes, it is another shortcode, but this one actually does work. So that's the equivalent of these two. Then, so that's only PHP in between there. Then this is normal HTML content here. And then PHP starts again, does this bit here, which is the equivalent of that bit, and then closes, and small HTML content, and then there's just PHP tags there just for this closing curly bracket. So that works. Let's see that work. Okay, I'll just copy that, pop that into here. I'll take this away, pop that into there, and update. And then refresh that screen. Content for anyone that is logged in. Yes, we expect that. Now let's go and have a look at our other browser that is not logged in. Where is that? Over here. Yep. Okay, so home page, some public content. So that is working. Great. Fantastic. There's another way of doing this. This is probably the easiest way if you're originally working with these examples, because you can just substitute the opening and closing PHP tags here with these bracketed shortcodes. But there is another way to do it, and that is to start the PHP language here and then end it at the very at the end. But then you would have to treat that content as HTML from within PHP. So you've got to start using echo statements here. And that gets a bit more complicated. So perhaps this is the notation we're going to stay with. Okay, so problem solved for now. Sorry about the delay. And let's move on with our tutorial.